Hey guys, it's 7Demo7, and I'm just going to bring you guys a couple of tips about the RunCam Split. This is the new camera that's out that everyone has lots and lots of questions about, so if you want some additional information about how this has been operating for the last couple days, you've come to the right place. So let's just get started real quick. What I'm doing on the bench right now, I thought I would stop and just shoot this quick video, is I'm changing the camera mounting position. I had the adapter plate in there along with my two side plates for this Martian 2 frames. I'm going to remove this, and the reason why is that the camera was sitting pretty far back in the frame here, and I was getting, in the HD video, these standoffs and a little bit of the frame in the shot. So what I'm going to do now is I'm using this bracket that came with the RunCam the RunCam Split. I'm going to have to get used to that. In a little bit different way, you can use it either right side up or upside down. What I want to do is take this top plate. You can see that there's 3 holes here. I can use any of those 3, and I've got the ribbon cable coming here, and I'm going to somehow attach this bracket here up to the top plate, probably with some zip ties most likely, if not with a little bit of hot glue underneath it as well. So it should work out just fine, but as you guys can see that now the camera is in about this position, slightly unprotected here, but if I damage a lens, I can just put a new lens into it. It's not that big of a deal. I have a couple left over. So this was this is my after position, and basically my before position was back down in here. So I think that little bit of difference might make a huge difference. This camera might inspire some designs of frames that will house this camera in a way that it's going to be up and out of the props view, about up like this, something that would protect it, something like that, and or possibly some type of 3D printed mount that you can mount the camera top side here so that you don't get any of the props in the view, and I think that would be pretty cool. You will note that this cable, as I have it sitting right here, is it's not being stretched, but it's right at its limit without stretching it at all. Now the camera does come with a 7-inch extension here in case you are doing maybe an airplane that you need a little bit more cable, or maybe a slightly longer frame than a standard 250. Now another quick tip here is that this board gets extremely hot when it's just sitting on the table, just operating by itself. Very, very hot. I would guess it's somewhere up around 120 degrees, and that is quite hot for a little unit. So I wouldn't suggest sitting this on the bench for very long before unplugging it, just to be safe. I don't like things to run hot, especially VTXs, and this as well. If I were to give RunCam a suggestion, I would love to have this run off of 12 volts instead of 5 volts. It just makes more sense. Everything seems to be going to 12 volts. I was able to get the Wi-Fi unit working and everything, and basically it's going in this type of orientation here, excuse me, just like this. Now obviously you can see that if my top frame was in place, that I would not be able to connect this in. So doing your settings, your Wi-Fi settings, is something you're gonna have to do while the copter is apart. Even if I flip this board over, which you can do, I would have the Wi-Fi dongles, basically it would come over to this side, but then it would be running into these leads that are here. So had I had this board before wiring this up, I would have wired my motor wires up and around so that I would be able to get this in there. But as it stands right now, it's not going to be able to plug in without taking apart the board. Keep that in mind as you're buying this. You're going to have clearance for this little Wi-Fi board, and it works great. I was initially having a problem with the settings going through the OSD settings through the VTX monitor, turning off the auto on function, but once I went in through the Wi-Fi dongle and turned that function off, then it worked just fine. I didn't want it to auto record. This is such a nice option, especially to take a little bit of weight off already heavy quad. This is a very heavy quad as it is. This is the Martian 2. Now if you're a racer and you're like, hey, I want HD footage, and but I want a light build, this would be good, except that racing builds are already pretty tight, so I don't know how you're going to configure this little board in here along with a VTX, so you would have to definitely figure that out. Like I was saying, I'm not sure what the target demographic for this is, or the target customer, but you really need to decide if this is something for you. It is a awesome option. It's $70, and what is a GoPro Session 5 or whatever, it's got to be like $300. So you could really buy about 4 of these for the price of a GoPro Session. And this is all internally protected and everything. If you do smash the lens, just grab another lens. I'm wondering in the future if they're going to have some more adaptive mounts that are going to be able to adapt to a top plate, maybe bringing this camera up and poking out of the frame. That would be most ideal for me. I don't care if I crash and I might hit the camera. I have extra lenses. Okay guys, I pretty much got this camera installed here. I got 2 zip ties up here, and it's actually quite solid. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. And you guys can see that it's currently in the middle hole, and I could actually drop this down to the top hole, which would bring this down and back, down and forward a little bit more, maybe getting a little bit more angle on that. But it looks to me like I can probably get out of seeing the props, and what I'm going to do is just turn on the quad and turn on the recording and get a quick video of me spinning the props. Okay, alright guys, here goes the prop test. We'll see if we have the props in the view. Obviously in the FPV view I don't have any props. Okay guys, in its current view I have the props at about like 50% in the view, so what I'm only going to do is I'm just going to move the camera up to the top, the bottom hole, so it moves the camera up a little bit further, so the props will be basically at the lower, probably 1/3 of the camera. This is prop test number 2. I just moved the camera up about like 3 millimeters, so I highly doubt it's going to make a big difference, but I did see the props in the last test, so like I said, there's a lot of product development coming out that should be coming out there that should be able to move these cameras up above the frame, which I know is what we kind of tried to get away from, but this is a much smaller form factor and you're also losing a lot of weight. Okay guys, just to wrap up here, so this is my final camera position right here. A little bit more tilt than I like to for just cruising around, but seems like it'll work just fine. I'm just going to have minimal tips in the picture for right now. I'm going to try and devise a system of getting the camera up top deck here, having some sort of protective cage to go around it. Like I said, if anyone wants to start 3D printing some stuff for the Martian 2, that would be a perfect product for this this type of camera. It would be really, really interesting. A couple guys asked me about these battery straps, Pyro Drone. These work really well. I always like to use doubles on a frame like this, a caged frame, because it really holds your battery in place. Somebody else put a note in my other video about this XT60 holder. I really love this thing because look, it basically bolts. You just take a longer bolt, you bolt it down into the frame, and it holds your XT60 in place, and it's not going to get caught in your props, which is always a danger. I get this and also all my 3D printed things through Great 3D Printing. So just look up Great 3D Printing and you will find this type of stuff. I also found this on Banggood as well. It looks like the identical thing, slightly less expensive, but if buying in the United States is important to you, then definitely head over to Great 3D. They're a bunch of really good guys. So anyway guys, thank you so much for joining my video, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.